Hi, Rosebuds. Come in here and have a seat. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. Now, listen, I have tried to be patient. I have tried to be gracious. I have tried to smell the roses, water those roses, prune the roses, and mind my own business in the garden. But y'all, this woman then walked into the garden wearing a white coat from Party City, holding a clipboard from Staples, and said, "I'm here to diagnose the entire internet." And I, like many other people, are like, what? Wait a minute. Because Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, or shall I say, Miss Dr. Adjacent Bryant, has been all over these microphones, panels, interviews, and comment sections, giving people therapy, life coaching, accountability coaching, relationship coaching, trauma coaching, healing coaching, and let me read your childhood through your dating history coaching. And now the internet is asking one simple question of her: ma'am, what exactly are you a doctor of? Because you know the internet. The internet may be messy, but the internet can read. The internet may be toxic, but the internet can Google. The internet may not have health insurance, but it will absolutely check your credentials before it pays you a copay or a membership. And right now, people are looking around like, hold on, is this therapy? Is this life coaching? Is this TV commentary? Is this spiritual advice? Is this auntie accountability? Or is this a TED Talk with lashes? Because the branding is giving doctor. The delivery is giving therapist. The confidence is giving board certified in everyone else's business. But the receipts are somewhere in the waiting room, and we have to find them. And let me be clear, because I know how people like to twist things, especially down deep in these comment sections. This is not about saying a woman cannot be educated. I hold a master's degree from Mercer University here in Georgia. This is not about saying a woman cannot be accomplished. This is not about saying a woman cannot help people. This is not about saying you need one specific title to speak wisdom. No, I am not saying that. This is about clarity, because when you present yourself with doctor in front of your name and you speak in the language of therapy, trauma, attachment wounds, healing, emotional regulation, narcissism, accountability, self-worth, and diagnose adjacent commentary, the people have the right to ask you, are we receiving therapy or are we receiving theatrics? Yes, I said it, theatrics. Because there is a difference between being insightful and being licensed. There is a difference between being helpful and being clinical. Okay? There is a difference between giving advice and giving treatment. There is a difference between I studied this and I am qualified to treat you for this. And when those lines get blurry, baby, that is when the roses start wilting, because people are tired. We are tired of everyone being some freaking healer. We are tired of everyone being a coach. We are tired of everyone being a relationship expert after 3 podcasts and 1 failed engagement. We are tired of people saying trauma response when sometimes the answer is just you are rude. We are tired of people saying narcissist when sometimes the answer is just, he does not like you. We are tired of people saying shadow work when sometimes the answer is just stop texting him after midnight. And we are definitely tired of people putting on the language of mental health like it is a lace front wig. Yes, I said it. We sick of that. Because therapy is really serious. Mental health is really serious. Credentials are serious. Licensure is serious. The people sitting at home trying to heal from real wounds deserve to know who is speaking to them and from what authority. Not vibes, not aesthetics. It's not just about putting a lead attorney a blazer on, not a podcast set, not a nameplate, not a title that sounds impressive when the ring light turns on, actual clarity. And that brings us to Miss Cheyenne. Now, Cheyenne has a strong presence. I will give her that. She speaks with confidence. Okay, cool. She's given, that Ayana's cousin who studied branding vibe. She gives principal of the Healing Academy. She gives, I will call you broken, then sell you a workbook. And baby, the internet ate that up for a while because people actually love women with a doctorate energy. People love someone who can sit up straight, blink slowly, and tell you that your man does not respect you because your inner child has been driving the car since 1998. Yes, that is when I got my license to drive. That kind of talk sounds deep. It sounds polished. It sounds like something you should write down. But then people started saying, wait, hold on, let's look a little closer. And once people started looking closer, the call outs started rolling in. One person said, or I think it was Corey Holcomb, right? He said, is she a therapist? Another said, is she licensed? Other people said, what kind of doctor is she? A doctor of what? Why is she speaking like she is diagnosing people? And suddenly the whole internet became one giant verification department. The comments turned into HR. The Reddit threads turned into credentialing offices. The YouTube reactions turned into a background check. And TikTok said, baby, pull the transcript. Now, again, I am not here to say what she does or does not have unless I have the paper in front of me. But I am here to say this. When your public image creates confusion, the burden is on you, Cheyenne, to clear it up. Not the audience, not the critics, not the haters, not the people in the comments. You, because you want the authority of the title. You have to accept the scrutiny of that title. You cannot walk in wearing the crown, then get mad when people ask where the kingdom is. You cannot say doctor with your whole freaking chest, then act confused when people ask, okay, doctor of what? You cannot sit in the therapist chair, use therapist language, speak to people's trauma, and then when people ask about licensure, say, why y'all so negative? No, ma'am, that is not negativity. That is consumer protection. That is informed consent. That is basic grown woman due diligence because people are vulnerable. People are lonely. People are desperate for answers. People are watching these shows and taking these words into their real lives, real marriages, real dating decisions, real families, real trauma, real healing. So when someone gets on a platform and speaks with clinical confidence, the public has the right to say, are you operating as a licensed clinician, a licensed life coach, or a commentator, or a personality? Because those are not the same things. A therapist actually has fucking standards. A therapist has a licensing board to put them in check. A therapist has ethical obligations. A therapist has scope of practice. A therapist has documentation. A therapist has confidentiality rules. A therapist can be reported if they cross the line. A commentator, though, a commentator can just say, that's my opinion, and go live again on Thursday. And that is the issue. Because some people want the credibility of therapy with the freaking freedom of entertainment. They want the authority of a clinician with the accountability of a podcast guest. How silly is that? They want to sit in the doctor's chair, but when accountability comes knocking at the door, suddenly I am just speaking from experience, is what they like to say. Well, which is it, beloved? Are you treating the wound or are you just selling a fucking bandage? Because the mask is dirty now. And that is why it's in the thumbnail. I have her holding up the mask, like, look at me. But the mask is stained. The mask is tired. The mask has been through too many interviews. The mask has been dragged through too many comment sections. The mask has been worn to too many panels where people were nodding like they were in a group therapy session, but nobody signed a consent form. The mask is not medical anymore. The mask is theatrical. It is giving I cosplay as a doctor, hence the title of the thumbnail. And baby, the evil grin that I suggested, that is not just shade, that is symbolism. Because there is something very unsettling about people building brands off of other people's pain while being unclear about the role they are actually playing. If you are a coach, say coach. If you are a speaker, say speaker. If you are an author, just say author. If you are a commentator, say commentator. They're all respectable. If you are a therapist, though, you need to show a fucking license and stay in your scope. But do not put a title, collect the credibility, and then float above accountability like a rose petal in a fucking tornado storm. Because that's where the public gets irritated. And I, frankly, am irritated too. I am sick of everyone being an expert. I am sick of people weaponizing therapy language. I am sick of, air quotes, healing becoming a brand package. I am sick of women being told they are broken by people who are monetizing their confusion. I am sick of men being diagnosed on podcasts by people who never met them. I am sick of every disagreement becoming trauma. I am sick of every boundary becoming avoidant attachment. I am sick of every toxic person being called a narcissist because it sounds more professional than saying they are just selfish. And I am especially sick of people cosplaying expertise in communities that already struggle to access real mental health care. That part matters to me because when people cannot afford therapy, they actually turn to podcasts. When people can't get appointments, they come to YouTube for a TED Talk, or they come looking for people that are actually licensed therapists. They look up what they're experiencing and they come for an answer. When people do not trust institutions, they actually turn to personalities. When people are hurt, they turn to whoever sounds confident and what they're hurting about. So the people with microphones actually have a responsibility. You cannot just throw around psychological language like confetti and then disappear when someone asks for receipts. You cannot call everybody damaged and then sell them a cure. That's not healing. That is just marketing. And listen, I'm not saying Cheyenne has never helped anybody. I'm not saying every word she's ever said is wrong, even. Sometimes people with questionable presentations can still say something true. Granted, a broken clock is right twice a day, and a life coach with a ring light can occasionally stumble into wisdom. Good job. But the issue is not whether every statement is wrong. The issue is whether the public understands the capacity in which she is speaking, because there is a difference. There's a big difference between here's my opinion on relationship and as a doctor, let me explain your trauma. One is commentary, the other sounds clinical. And if you blur that line from branding, do not be shocked when people call it cosplay, because the internet is tired of costumes. We have had enough costumes. We have politicians playing as civil servants. We have influencers cosplaying as millionaires. We have gurus cosplaying as prophets. We have relationship coaches cosplaying as happily married. We have entrepreneurs cosplaying as CEOs while their LLC is younger than their iPhone. And now allegedly we have people cosplaying as therapists. I just need everybody to stop. The rose tornado is cute, right? But baby, it has thorns. And the thorns are the questions. The thorns are the receipts. The thorns are the commentators saying, where is the license? Where is the license? Those thorns are people saying, define your title. The thorns are the viewers saying, stop playing in our faces, bitch. Those thorns are the critics saying we deserve transparency because it is something we would ask of our therapists in real life. I just went through an active shooter situation at my job on August 8th, 2025. I had to see a therapist because going to work was very triggering for me. The first thing she had to give me was her credentials and tell me how I am able to hold her accountable if she harms me. So once those thorns wrap around your brand, you cannot just smile through it, Cheyenne. You have to answer because the internet may forgive mess. The internet may forgive shade. The internet may forgive a bad take, but the internet does not like feeling deceived. And when people feel like the title is being used for authority without clarity, they get angry. Like I am angry right now. Not because we are all haters, not because we are jealous of you, not because we do not want a woman to win, but because words mean things. Doctor means something. Therapist means something. License means something. Clinical means something. Expert means something. And if you are going to build a brand on a public persona around those meanings, you better be ready to explain exactly what they mean in your case. Otherwise, the people will do what people always do. They will screenshot your ass. They will search. They will compare. They will clip. They will stitch. They will make reaction videos. They will put your name in the title with 3 question marks and a siren emoji. And then when somebody like me will come along smelling the roses in a nurse costume and say something like, ma'am, the mask is dirty. Because that is what it is. The mask is dirty. The performance is showing. The title is questioned. The audience is no longer nodding quietly. The internet has entered to the chat with the flashlight and their own freaking clipboard. And I am not mad at them because accountability is not bullying. Questions are not attacks. Transparency is not hate. And critique is not violence. If you are who you say you are, then you need to clarify it, girl. If the credentials are solid, then state them plainly. Hell, I'll drop the link to my university in the chat. You guys can go and see what Mercer University is all about and all of their accreditations, accommodations, or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's a real legit degree. I paid $80,000 for that mug. If your role is coach, say it. If your role is commentator, I'm going to say it again, say commentator. If your role is therapist, say therapist and provide the proper professional clarity. But stop letting people believe one thing while benefiting from the confusion, because that is where the cosplay begins. This garden has had enough costumes. So to Cheyenne Bryant, or Dr. Life Coach Therapist Adjacent Bryant, whatever the fuck, whatever the full accurate title may be, the message is simple. The internet is not asking you to be perfect. The internet is asking you to be clear. Because when you step into people's pain, you do not get to play dress up. You do not get to wear the white coat for authority, then take it off when accountability arrives. You do not get to speak like a clinician, market like a healer, defend yourself like an entertainer, and crash out like a brand. Pick a lane, bitch. And make sure the lane has credentials, because the roses are beautiful. The tornado is spinning. The title is loud. The nurse is standing. The mask is dirty. And my thorns are out. So tonight, we are not just smelling the roses. We are checking the roots. And if the roots don't match the flowers, then baby, we are calling it what it is. It's cosplay. Like, comment, subscribe, become a member. Send me a super chat if you want me to keep watering the garden with truth. Because over here, we do not just smell the roses. Reread the thorns too. Insert mic drop here.